Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anggita Prameswari and I'm from class 33.6a.02, and today I will presentation about diglossia and code switching. The first is diglossia. What is diglossia? The term diglossia was introduced by Charles A. Ferguson in 1959 to describe a situation in which two distinct varieties of a single language are used by a community for different purposes. In such a context, one variety is considered the high H variety, used in formal or official domains, while the other is the low L variety, used in informal or private settings. In classical diglossia, the two varieties are closely related, often different forms of the same language, but their use is strictly separated by context. The community accepts this functional division as the norm, and speakers are usually proficient in both varieties. And the next is Characteristic of Diglossia by Ferguson, 1959. Fer- uh, to better understand how diglossia operates within a community, it's helpful to explore the key features that define such a linguistic situation. In his seminal 1959 paper, Charles Ferguson analyzed several well-known diglossic communities, including Arabic-speaking countries, Switzerland, Greece, and Haiti, and identified a consistent set of patterns that distinguish diglossia from other forms of bilingualism or language variation. These characteristics are not only linguistic, but also deeply tied to the social, cultural, and political organization of a society. Uh, Recognizing these features help us see why diglossia tends to be stable over time and how it shapes speakers' language behavior in both subtle and overt ways. And Ferguson identified several key features that define diglostic situation. The first is function. Each variety serves a distinct set of functions. The H variety is preserved for religious service, formal education, written communication, and media, while the L variety is used for everyday conversation among family and friends. In contrast, the L variety is used for everyday interactions, casual conversation, and private life. And the next is prestige. The H variety is seen as more prestigious, often associated with intelligence, education, and refinement. The L variety is viewed as less formal, sometimes even as incorrect or substandard. And the next is number three, literary heritage. The H variety has a tradition of literature and written text. It is often used in classical poetry, religious scripture, and historical documents. The L variety may have little or no written form. And the fourth is acquisition. Speakers acquire the L variety at home as their first language. The H variety is learned later, typically through formal schooling. Children acquire the L variety as their first language through natural exposure in the home. The H variety is introduced later, usually through formal education, and is learned explicitly rather than acquired naturally. And the next is 5 standardization. The H variety tends to be standardized with grammar, books, and dictionaries. The L variety may be highly variable and lack codified norms. And the sixth is stability. Diglossia tends to be stable and persistent across generations. Speakers maintain the functional division between H and L, and language shift is rare unless influenced by external forces such as colonization or education reforms. And the next is 1.3 examples of diglossia. There is three example about the diglossia. The first is Arabic-speaking countries. Modern Standard Arabic is used in official and religious contexts. H, while regional dialects, Egyptian Arabic, Levanten Arabic, are used for daily conversation. And the next is second, Switzerland. Standard German is used for writing, education, and broadcasting age, while Swiss German dialects are used in speech L. And the third is Haiti. French functions as the H variety in formal context, while Haitian Creole is the L variety used in informal settings. And the next is extended concept of diglossia. In 1967, Joshua Fishman extended the concept of diglossia beyond closely related varieties to include situations where two entirely different languages are used in functionally distinct ways. In this model, the H and L varieties may come from separate language families but are still kept apart by social function. For example, in Paraguay, Spanish is used in education and government age, while Guarani is spoken in homes and local communities L. This extended model helps explain many post-colonial language situations where a European language functions as the language of power and a local language serves everyday communication. And the next is 1.5 social and political dimensions. Diglossia is not merely a linguistic arrangement. It reflects and reinforces social hierarchies. The dominance of the H variety often corresponds to the dominance of elite or educated classes. Access to the H variety is typically tied to formal education, creating barriers for those who only speak the L variety. In many countries, diglossia becomes a mechanism for exclusion and inequality, particularly when public service, legal system, and education are conducted in the H variety. And the next is two. Diglossia. Sorry. The next is code switching. What is code switching? Code switching is the practice of alternating between two or more language, dialects, or language varieties within a single conversation or utterance. It is a common and natural behavior in bilingual and multilingual communities. Unlike diglossia, which assign each variety to a specific domain, code switching is often spontaneous and context sensitive. Code switching reflects the speaker's ability to navigate multiple linguistic systems and social meanings. It can serve expressive practical and relational purposes. And the next is 2.2 types of code switching. There is four of types of code switching. Code switching is not a random or chaotic behavior. Even though to an outsider it may appear so, linguistics often switch between language in highly structured and meaningful ways. These switches can occur at different points in an utterance and can serve different functions depending on context, audience, and intent. Understanding the types of code switching help us appreciate how bilingual and multilingual speakers manage their linguistic resources with great flexibility and creativity. Linguistics classify code switching into several types based on where the switch occurs. Number 1. Intersentential switching. The language switch happens between sentences. For example, I'm tired. Aku mau tidur sekarang. This type is often used to signal a shift in tone, audience, or subject matter, or simply to provide emphasis or clarity in one language over the other. And the next is intra-sentential switching. The switch occurs within a single sentence. For example, she's so pintar and always gets good grades. And speakers may do this to borrow terms that better capture their meaning, or to reflect their cultural identity. It is also common in informal speech where both languages are deeply intertwined in everyday use. And the next is third, text switching. Text, fillers, or exclamations from one language are inserted into another. For example, dia tuh orangnya baik banget. This type of switching is often unconscious and can reflect habitual bilingual behavior. It may also function to soften a statement, invite agreement, or signal a shared cultural background. And the fourth is intra-word switching. Rarely, speakers blend morphemes from different languages within a single word, as in, his song is stressed lately. Such hybrid forms often emerge in youth slang, social media language, or popular culture, and can eventually become part of informal registers. And the next is function and motivation of code switching. Code switching is not random, it is a socially meaningful practice that serves several communicative functions. There is six. The first is identity expression, the second is pragmatic emphasis, the third is topic management for lexical need, five audience design, six is stylistic creativity. We start the first, identity expressions. Speakers may switch to signal membership in a cultural, ethnic, or social group. And the second is pragmatic emphasis. Uh, Switching can add emotional weight, irony, or emphasis to a statement. The third is topic management. Shifts in language can mark a change in topic, tone, or level of formality. And the next is lexical need. Sometimes a speaker uses a word or phrase from another language when it better expresses the intended meaning, or when there is no direct translation. And the five is audience designs. A speaker may adjust their language to match or accommodate their listeners, especially in mixed language settings. And the next is stylistic creativity. In literature, music, and advertising, code switching can add flair, humor, or authenticity. And the next is code switching and power dynamics. Code switching can reflect not only linguistic ability but also social navigation. For example, a bilingual speaker might switch to English in a job interview to signal professionalism, or to their mother tongue at home to signal intimacy. In some contexts, the ability to code switch is seen as a valuable skill. In others, it may be stigmatized as a sign of linguistic confusion or lack of education. The attitudes toward code switching often reveal deeper cultural or political biases. And the next is tree comparison, diglossia versus code switching. While both diglossia and code switching involve the use of multiple varieties or language, they differ in fundamental ways. Diglossia is characterized by a stable, institutionalized division of language used across different domains. The choice between H and L is generally determined by the social situation, not by individual preference. Code switching, on the other hand, is more dynamic and conversational. It is shaped by individual speaker choices and can occur at any moment in speech, often for strategic or expressive purposes. In diglossia, the two varieties are not freely interchangeable. A speaker who uses the L variety in a formal speech may be seen as inappropriate or uneducated. In code switching, switching between language it may change communication and social rapport. Diglossia tends to be long-term and socially regulated, whereas code switching is situational and immediate. And the next is 4. Relevance to literature and linguistic study. In literary studies, both diglossia and code switching are essential tools for analyzing language in text, especially in post-colonial literature and multicultural narratives. Uh, Diglossia appears in novels that depict hierarchical societies where certain language or dialects carry more prestige. Readers may use this contrast to critique social structures or highlight the marginalization of local voice. And code switching is often used in fiction to reflect the authentic speech of bilingual characters. It can indicate identity, conflict, cultural hybridity, or emotional depth. Readers such as Junot Diaz, Amitan, and Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie use code switching to portray the linguistic realities of immigrant or diasporic life. And the difference about the dyslexia and code switching is dyslexia refers to a situation where two language varieties are used in a community, each serving a distinct function. one for formal setting, high variety, and one for informal situation, low variety. And code switching is the practice of alternating between two or more language or language varieties within a single conversation, depending on the speaker topic or context. Diglossia is a stable societal phenomenon, while code switching is a flexible individual linguistic behavior. And there is my presentation about diglossia and code switching. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.